censorship of the Australian internet is fucking crazy. I've been watching the government expand upon the under 16 social media ban. 16 and under, banned from social media. This is one of those laws where I 100% wholeheartedly agree with, but it just can't be a law. Kids 16 and under should not be on social media. They should not have smartphones. They should not have iPads. They should have very heavily monitored internet access that is limited to like maybe 2 hours a day. Streaming services should be locked down like Guantanamo Bay so that they can only see child-friendly content. I mean, I reckon if I had a child, we're going to VHS. It's going to be the 90s in this house. VHS, and then I'm going to raise them like a cult. I'm not even going to tell them the internet exists. I'm going to let them discover the invention of DVDs. You know, we're going to start off with VHS for 10 years, and then we're going to go, great news, boy, we got DVDs. And then we'll go to Blu-ray, and by the time they're 16, then they can get fucking mind-fucked by Gooner shit on Instagram. But yeah, Australia is banning social media for under 16s. And that sounds like a great idea until you realize that the only way to enforce a ban of minors from the internet is to punish every single person who is exempt to the law, right? The only way to prove that you're not 16 is to give the government your ID or to give the website you want to use your ID. And in December, they're implementing it. And they legislated this law before they even figured out how they were going to enforce it. They made it a law, and as part of the law, they said, we're going to leave it up to the companies to figure out how to implement it. And they didn't clearly define what social media is. At the moment, it's Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and it previously was not YouTube, but now they've included YouTube. Here's the crazy thing. Kids can look at porn on Pornhub. That is not included in this legislation. So you don't have to prove you're not a minor to look at Pornhub or OnlyFans or whatever, but you do to go on Facebook. Makes no sense. When you start to realize that this is not about protecting children, it's about knowing exactly who is posting what. It's about killing anonymity online. That's what this law is about. I think it's no coincidence that when 100,000 people walked across Sydney Harbour Bridge to protest against a war that seemingly only the elites in this fucking country are invested in pursuing, they bring in these laws that make every single person who wants to voice an opinion online have to link that opinion with their home address and their ID, so the government knows exactly who you are. And they dress it up under the guise of, oh, we're protecting children from having iPads and from seeing bad things on social media. That's the parents' job. Yes, they're fucking it up and they're not doing it right, but that's the parents' job. Now I have to, in December, upload my fucking passport or my driver's license, which I have because I can drive, or whatever, to every single social media website that I want to use. And here's what's funny. Discord is not a social media under the law. Video games are not a social media under the law. I couldn't think of anything more damaging to a child's development than League of Legends and a Discord server attached to that. All right. If anything is gonna create a Nazi furry transgender kid, it is a combination of those two applications. What's scary about it is that it's already a law. They just haven't implemented it yet. So we didn't get a chance to vote on it. It's going to affect every single fucking adult in this country that is supposedly exempt from the law. It's a law that punishes us. And what's also scary about it is because the government, in classic Australian style, just made it a law and then said to the private companies, you guys figure it out. Now these companies who are incentivized to do this poorly because it doesn't make them money, it only costs them money, they're the ones that have to figure out how to prove that I am an adult and that I'm not 16. So what's going to happen now is that I'm probably going to have to upload my identification to every single social media website that I want to use. And I just have to trust that dozens of them and every subsequent app that is created is going to treat my identity with care and look after my address, my information. God knows what else I'm going to have to give these companies. And I'm going to have to give it to like fucking 12 of them. And I'm going to have to give it to every single social media company that either pops up or that the government decides is arbitrarily included in this law that can change at any moment. Who's to say that I won't, send out a tweet from an anonymous account about something and then some foreign employee of a fucking foreign billionaire's company goes, I wonder who that is. They look it up in the archives. Now my address is online. This is bad for women that are fleeing domestic violence situations. This is bad for people that are fleeing war zones or that are living in countries that have violent governments or regularly need to travel to them. This is bad for tourists who will have to, if they want to use social media in Australia, I assume they're going to have to upload their identification to use social media in our country, and then they're going to have to go back, and again, some foreign company is going to have their information, and it probably won't be looked after because there's no profit incentive to do so. But the only alternative to freely giving out my information to dozens of foreign-owned companies who don't care about me and my privacy, the alternative to that is either A, I quit social media and lose my job, or B, the government has to come up with a centralized identity checker. And I don't know who I trust less, the foreign-owned billionaire social media companies or my own government. What, I'm going to have to give my government the ability to prove my identity, and then I got to link that government-approved identity to every social media account? Now the government can just be like, oh, I wonder who's tweeting that. I'll check that. Now I know. Let's shut him down. It's literally how fucking tyranny happens. And I'm not necessarily worried about the government that I have now, all right? I don't think I'm going to get arrested for an anonymous fucking thing that I post because it's linked to my ID now. That's not going to happen. I'm worried about the government that we might get in 15, 20 years. Who now, thanks to my government, who I, semi-trust, is going to have the ability to scrape 20 years of posts that are linked to my address and arbitrarily arrest me for any wrong thought. That's what happens by destroying online anonymity. I think it's a human right to be able to be anonymous online, to be able to voice your opinion without putting your home address attached to it. And that does come with a lot of bad things. Of course it does. It comes with a lot of horrible, toxic opinions and harassment, all this kind of stuff. But that's what we get when we have the right to express ourselves. And I just think that forcing adults to link their social media accounts with their digital ID, it's the start of this fucking surveillance state bullshit that we have been advancing for years and years and years. In Australia, they've already passed, I think it was 2015, they passed the Data Retention Act, which forces phone providers to monitor, log, and store for years every single person you're texting, your location data, all of that, so that the government can access it at any time they want, right? That Data Retention Act thing is going to surely be expanded to social media posts. And now your social media posts will be linked to your ID. It's the beginning of a true, proper surveillance state here in Australia. And because we are a fucking prison colony, we're all going to follow the rules to our own doom. Be like, oh, well, that's the new rule. We better do it. All of this because parents were too fucking retarded to not give an iPad to their 4-year-old while I'm trying to enjoy my time at the cafe. I gotta listen to some fucking toddler play Candy Crush on an iPad full volume. Watching fucking YouTube and playing ads, max vol. Two iPads at a time because their parents are too fucking stupid to have a conversation with a 4-year-old. I can't remember if I talked about this, but do you know what I saw the other day when I was at a cafe? I saw a family, mum, dad, 2 little girls, and they were sitting at a table and they were all silent. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this family? And then I look over. Dad is reading a book. Mum was doing like a crossword. 8-year-old girl was coloring. 6-year-old girl was doing a collage that was obviously brought from home. And I looked at this family and I went, I haven't seen that since I was a child, before phones existed. And I compared the peace that was in that family with the fucking chaos that I see with every single other family in a public space. And I go, holy shit, those 2 little girls are going to have such an advantage over every single one of their peers because they know how to sit down in a public space and do some coloring without having a panic attack because their dopamine receptors aren't being, simulated by Spider-Man, Elsa, lewd pornography on YouTube. And then that makes me go, fuck, maybe it is worth a little bit of government tyranny so that I don't have to listen to some fucking idiot kid scream about an iPad. But here's the thing. That's still going to happen because an app isn't social media, is it? So it's not going to kill the iPad baby. It's just going to, I don't know. The plus side of the legislation is that obviously kids are going to find a way around it, but they will be hiding the fact that they are children on social media, which will keep them safe from predators. That's, I guess, a good. And it will make it a lot easier for parents to say no to giving their kids smartphones because there won't really be a reason to own one because they can't use social media like all of their friends do. I guess that's good. But these goods don't outweigh like the fucking tyranny. This is a shit law and it punishes normal citizens, and it's a great excuse to log the keystrokes of every single person who might not be stoked about a certain war that's happening.